Welcome to Slamfire Radio, episode 598, recording live on March 26th, 2025. I'm your host, Dustin.
I am Cowtown Tony.
I'm Adriel.
And I'm Kyle.
Wonderful. All right. Well, rolling right into what we did with guns while we wait for Kelly to pop up. Adriel, what'd you do in guns this week?
I got 2 weeks of stuff because I took last week off and it was amazing. Let's see. So I made some ammo with a buddy and listener. We made some 6.5 Swede and a bunch of other that kind of stuff. And then I went to the shooting range. I used the Heritage Rough Rider carbine. That's kind of on its side right now back there, but that's that revolver carbine. Yeah, shot well. There's a couple of things that I like about the Heritage compared to the Ruger, and then a couple of things that I don't like. I don't like the safety. I do like how clicky it is because it clicks, like the cylinder clicks over and locks into place when you're loading and unloading it. And the Ruger doesn't do that, and sometimes it's kind of hard to like find where the ejector rod has to go. Or is it this one you just click it over, ejector, click it over, ejector. So that was all good. The difference in velocity between it and just a bog standard 22 rifle was staggering. Like, I did not know that little revolver gap would lose you so much velocity, but it's giving pistol velocity.
Really?
Yeah. 900 FPS. That's pistol velocity. It's no longer.
Are you getting pistol revolver velocities?
I don't know, because I haven't like my Ruger revolver is set up for RPAL courses, and it's a pain in the butt to go a bit back and forth. So I don't know, but 800 to 900 FPS. Yeah. Whereas the other rifles that we had out there were giving us like 12 to 1300, somewhere in there for high velocity ammo, which is like what they print on the box. And it's like 800. Yeah. Yep. It was fun though. It was a fun gun to shoot. Maybe 18 rounds out of about 3 cylinders. And I'm like, okay, I'm done.
The reload takes too long, right? It's not a double action gun. You can't swing the cylinder.
Yep. Yeah. I have this debate in the RPAL courses. You could make a single action revolver that had a swing out cylinder and all the accoutrements of modern day living. We just don't, because the only time we ever make a single action revolver is because, well, not the only time, but practically the only time we're making a single action revolver is when we're trying to ape the Colt Army, and therefore it has to have a stupid grip on it. Therefore it has to be a 6-shooter. Therefore it has to have a loading gate and no swing out cylinder, because those things didn't come on the old Colt Army, so we can't have them on any of the new ones. But, and conversely, you could have all that stupidity on a double action revolver too. You just wouldn't, because it's silly. Anyways, I'll get off my high horse about revolvers. The other thing I did was shoot over a Garmin Zero C1 chronograph, and I'm in trouble because it's so good.
It's the C1 Pro. I don't think the standard version is ever out. So
C1 Pro, sure, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, C1 Pro. It's small. The interface is easy. It's not sensitive at all. It just works. And that's what that's one of the reasons I don't really like the old chronographs, the ones with the sticks you got to shoot over. And if there's no sky, like no clouds above, you got to put the little sky shields in, the little white thing. The bullets go through and hopefully you don't shoot the chronograph. And then the lab radar, it's like, okay, here's a briefcase. And that thing chews through batteries. You need a battery bank to run one of those things. It's hard on batteries.
I haven't really seen anyone run like batteries on the lab radars anymore. It's just battery bank, big one.
Battery bank, yeah. There's a battery built into it, I think. But then, yeah, you run the battery bank so that it lasts long enough. This thing, I used it not too long. Let's just be real, not too long. And then I came back to it the week after, and I wanted to use it again. And I turned it on, which is like practically instantaneous. Boop. Oh, maybe I'll hold it. There we go. There's on. So I'm like, oh, it must be.
Wow.
It must be in sleep mode, not really off. I bet you use some batteries. No. Week to week. And again, I used it over the weekend, 87%. So yeah, it's very good on battery and very easy to use, and you get your velocities out of everything, and it's like, oh, get your SD, get your ES, and yeah, you can log it all to your phone and all that kind of stuff. I find really no need for that. I just wanted to get, some ideas as to some reloads, and I did. I got some ideas. So I'm gonna wait for Athlon to release their. I'll call it their version, their copied version. It's very similar to this idea, right? But for like half the price. So I want to see that one out. I fired that Winchester Model 12 shotgun. That one from the 50s. It was from the 50s, that shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Ran great. Ran fantastic. Super good. And boy, I did what you tell everyone not to do. So I got a bunch of old reloads from the 1970s. Guy wrote on them when he reloaded them. I shot all the 7.5, like 2 or 3 boxes. They all ran fine. So it must have been a good reloader because all that stuff was fine.
What's wrong with the 7.5?
It was all reloaded shotgun shells from the 70s.
Just random reloaded shotgun ammo.
Not random. They were well packaged. They had dates on when he made it and the shot size, and that's about it. Yeah, no rest.
It's still a low pressure round. I wouldn't be too concerned about it.
Yeah, but it ran good. I did test my 300 Win Mag when I was out at the range then. So then when I got back home, I reloaded 100 rounds of 300 Win Mag with a 165 or 168. I can't remember. 165 TSX on top. Just going stupid fast. 3,400 FPS. Just smoking. And I was like, man, I kind of like this. I kind of like going stupid fast with copper bullets. So maybe I'll do that for some other stuff. So I went and picked up a bunch of 243 reloading stuff. And actually, I just finished these off tonight. Last night. And these are some 243 tipped TSX. And then those are just some ballistic tips on that side there for coyotes and that kind of thing. But yeah, I made about 100 TSX and TTSXs. And I don't know, 50 or 60 ballistic tips for coyotes. Again,
how good are you seeing the accuracy?
TBD. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I tested them for pressure signs at the range, and they were all fine. And rather than like shoot on paper, I just shot on, because they were all different loads. I just shot on like the smallest plate at 200, and all of them hit. And that's like sighted in for my 100 grain regular lead bullets, and they're all still hitting. So it's like, close enough. That should make long range shooting a little bit easier, because rather than 3,000 FPS, I'll be doing 3,300 with the 243. So just a little bit quicker, and that copper round should do fine for any distance I'm shooting, or my kids are really shooting with it. Did an RPAL PAL course. That was great. A lot of fun. Booked another private class in June. And then some buddies of mine were ordering some stuff from Tenda, so I ordered some 30-30 bullets because I'm going to reload some of those. I'm like really getting back into doing a bunch of reloading, mostly because I got all this equipment from RCBS. So now I've been trimming cases is all of a sudden not a pain in the ass. I guess I'll reload some more, right? I can just tumble and I get like these really nice brass cases out after a little bit. Corncob media, yes, I love it. Over top of walnut, give me corncob every time. I ran out of primers, make with 243. So I looked on Cabela's, and they had CCI
Remington
large rifle for 15 or 14 something.
Whoa, that's a really good price.
And they also had 10% off for a local pickup, which, okay, I'll do that anyways. So I got 1,000. I finally got 1,000 primers that weren't small pistol or small rifle. It's been too long. Maybe like 6 or 8 years. Yeah. But now I'm going to be flush on large rifle primers. And then today, like I was actually adding some stuff to the show, and I saw, they got that lead sled on sale again, and they got the 10% off sale for local pickup. I got one of those too.
Ooh.
Warning: the Vortex Optics does not condone the use of lead sleds.
But Vortex Optics has a lifetime warranty, so I don't give a fuck. They can pay for my broken scope anyways. What's it gonna break? It's not gonna break.
Apparently, action screws. It could.
Oh, I see. Yeah, the rifle. It'll be hard on the rifle. Yeah, I don't usually load them up with too much weight. I usually just like the weight of the sled itself is usually enough. I don't usually put a lot on them, or maybe I'll put like a sandbag on it or something. I'm not going to put like the big 25-pound plate on there, because yeah, on a really heavy recoiling rifle on a lead sled, it's almost like putting the buttstock up against a chunk of
A
wood.
wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, that's the best large rifle prices I've ever seen for like this year at least. I think the best price I've found, which I bought, was extra load Remington large rifles. Those were like $17, shipping not included. So overall, if you can pick up, they'll be way cheaper. CCI primers, good quality stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm looking for my price here that I paid. There's a Heritage Rancher. I can't. Oh, because it's not Cabela's anymore. Now it's Bass Pro, right?
Oh yeah.
$15.99 is what I see online right now, and
Plus 10% off.
Yep,
Yeah.
10% off on top of that for today.
Yeah, so after it was $143.90 for 1,000 plus GST. It came out to $151 after GST with no shipping cost. Because yeah, like I'd get them from Tender or something like that, but the shipping cost is like outrageous. Anywho, Kyle, what'd you get up to?
Not a lot. Finally got stuff cleaned up and put away from Superstition, because a bunch of people shipped ammo, and I got guns and parts and stuff. So finally got that stuff cleaned up and put away, and now getting ready for Texas 3 gun. That's in a few weeks. So we could do some work to Craig's shotgun, see if we can get that going a little bit better. I gotta try and find some time, open up the load port on it a little bit, because we threw a new 2-piece shell catch basically from the Ethos in there, and it actually moved where the shell stops forward a little bit, so it kind of messed up his loading. So if I can get a chance to run over to Buddy's place, I'll grab the Dremel and open up that load port a little bit more, and then that should be good. Waiting on a gas block for his rifle, because the gas block we bought, didn't notice the gas adjustment screw. Like, we got the one from JP that has the detents. It's a 2-piece, just clamps around the barrel, but it's on the side, and you had to back that thing way out for it to even just cycle the rifle, and ended up contacting the handguard. So we've ordered a new gas block, and yeah, so hopefully that comes in soon. I'll get that set up for Craig here, and then that will hopefully be ready to go for Texas, and he'll have a better go at the long range. So
Cool.
yeah, and then I gotta look at my rifle, because it went bolt action on the last stage of the match. So yeah, I gotta look. I think it might be mag issue, but have a look at buffer and mag. I might have to retire a mag. So
It knows you're Canadian. It's trying to give you that Canadian experience.
yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I got coming up. But yeah, anyways, Dustin, what you get up to?
Oh, what did I get up to this week? Actually, several things for a change. So I did work the BC Outdoor Show out in Chilliwack. That's why I sound the way I do. Someone was kind enough to give me a cold that came on last night, finally, which sucks. I'm feeling all gross, but I'm here. Anyway, it was a really, really fantastic weekend. We sold a whole bunch of memberships, renewed a whole bunch of other people, sold some swag, or rather some merch. I guess we gave away the swag. Lots of stickers, lots of lanyards given away, sold lots of hats, challenge coins, patches, everything that we had. It was really great. It was great getting to talk with people. Lot of people feeling some things, and just encouraging everybody to, now's the time. We all got to vote. It was good hanging out with Rod for a bit. He was there Saturday. I didn't get to work Sunday because I had a job on Sunday, but yeah, I worked the show Friday and Saturday, had an absolute blast. And yeah, what else did I do? Oh, a little side note. I got to I've gotten to experience some trolling as of recent, as a consequence of some of my social media posts and my stance on firearms issues. There's someone within my social circle who also works, who's also a member of my union. There's like one of 5 people, it probably is, who reported me to my union over my social media posts, which was entertaining. Obviously, there's nothing there that got me in any trouble, but they still felt that they should because they could. But the more interesting trolling was I got an impromptu visit from my federal MP, Terry Beach, as he was putting a liberal lawn sign out on my front lawn, because somebody who knows me well enough to know my full name, my address, and most importantly, my work email, signed me up for a liberal lawn sign. And so my work email is only tied into my union, and I suspect probably the same person. But anyway, I'm getting under someone's skin, probably a friend. There's like a 60% chance it's someone I got into the union. So that's, I don't know, anecdotally funny. Anyway.
With friends like that, who needs enemies?
I know, right? I don't know. It was entertaining, and it was really funny because like Terry knows me well enough to be like, Dustin, this is your house? And he's like, is there anybody else here that could have? And I'm like, no, there's a couple of vets here that are watching you through the doorbell camera right now, and you really don't want them to come outside because they'll tell you how they feel about your party. And he's like, and then he clicks his little app and he can see, he's like, no, it's your name. Oh, and here's the email address. And I'm like, well, that's my work email address. That's the one that's plugged into my union. So somebody who, because there's like a list. So anyway, that's not gun related. It was just kind of anecdotally funny. Yesterday I took this beautiful break in the weather that we had. We had like 19 degrees and sunny yesterday. So I took it as an excuse to light off for the mountains out in Harrison Hot Springs and go shoot some guns and camp for a day. Had an absolute just wonderful time. I needed to go be out in the woods by myself. So packed up my truck, packed up some guns, and I went out to the side of a mountain. There's some good shooting spots that are also good camping spots. It's been like torrential downpour for the last couple of weeks. So having this like weird day where like there were no clouds and like everything, like it was warm and beautiful. Shot my SKS, shot a couple of shotguns, my 10-22. There's actually 2 shooting spots where I was like kind of close by. It was up a bunch of logging roads. And so the first spot I was going to go to, there was actually some other people out there shooting randomly on a Tuesday afternoon. And so I went and said hi and handed out some CCFR stickers and a couple of pamphlets because they weren't members, but they were as annoyed with what they had left to shoot as I was. And any opportunity I get to, meet gun owners out in the wild, I always keep some of those stickers and stuff in my like range bags and just to hand out to folks because I find that quite useful. But yeah, so I let them be, went to the alternate shooting spot, set up a little firing line and just shot away a few things. And then I had a lovely fire and just hung out and waited for the night sky to come out. It was like a moonless, cloudless night, so it was just this like beautiful star field with like no light pollution. It was really refreshing. And I woke up this morning and I drove the 2 hours back home. And the first thing I did when I got home, I cleaned my SKS because we always clean our SKSs after we go shoot. So
just shoot some non-corrosive at the end. Fire a couple of rounds of non-corrosive. Good.
Yeah, that's fine, right? No, I mean, I almost exclusively put non-corrosive when I like go out into the bush like that, just for those reasons. But I don't trust anything when it comes to 7.62. So it was just, let's clean this right now. So I did.
I sell it and billet.
I have some. It's actually what I was shooting, but I still don't trust any of it. Anyway, so that was what I did in guns. Kelly, what did you do in guns? I feel like it's been a while.
It has been a while. I didn't do much in guns. Let's see. Yeah, I haven't done much. Jeez, I don't even remember the last time I was on. I had a podcast with the She Shoots podcast, which was awesome. Go back and listen to it. We had Julie Globe on, and it was for International Women's Day. What else happened? Oh, yeah, not a lot. Yeah. My dad passed, so but in that we had the opportunity to go through his guns, and my brother and I, and we actually split them up, which was nice because I think that my brother, he up until I actually got my pal and our pal, he was thinking he was going to get everything. But it was awesome. We were able to go through it, and I was able to but we were able to divide the guns between us. My nephews also got a couple of rifles, and beautiful rifles too for hunting. My nephew got the one that my dad always used, but I got the one that I knew that I would use. It fits me great, and I know that I'll take it out next year for hunting, and I knew that's what he would want me to do. The other thing that I also got was we gifted him a 1022 completely outfitted. It was awesome, and that was his retirement gift. And so I said, "Can I have that? Because I'd like to have it because it's a 1022. It's just me, right?" And
Just right.
Yeah.
So and a couple of other guns as well. I didn't know if I was going to be on tonight, and I didn't know if we were going to be on YouTube, so I didn't get them out. So next time I will get out the one that I know that I'm going to be using for hunting.
Can you tell us what it is?
Well, you know what? It's the exact same gun that I used last year. So not the exact same gun, it's the exact same make and model. So it's a 30-30 lever action and a Winchester.
Wow.
So yeah.
Cool.
I know that I like the gun. I know that it's easy to shoot and it fits me maze balls. So I'm gonna use that one. Funny enough, the one I used last year was Kelly's dad's. So it's like the
The dad generation, I love it.
yeah, right. Yeah. So, and then the other things that have happened are we have a couple things that are going to be taking place. There was the announcement for the AGM for, I think we actually already talked about that last time I was on, but if not, the AGM for the CCFR, which is going to be at the end of June, that I'm going to be going to. And what else? National Range Day, that's going to be on the 4th. I committed to going to that. There is, did I say January again? June. And then June. And then in May there is an orientation that I've been asked to help out with too. So other than that, I haven't gone shooting. I should go shooting. I'd like to shoot something.
Maybe a 30-30.
Right?
Maybe
take that 30-30. Yeah. Take those. But yeah. That's it for me. I am late to the party, late coming on. Just as in our private chat, guys, I did let you know that the guest that we were looking to have on, she's going to be on in a few minutes.
Oh,
so she said stall, tell them I'm in the bath. And I'm going, okay.
We're still going through her thing. We're all good. As soon as she comes on, we'll just bring her on.
Okay. And that's what I said too. Oh shit. I should probably send her the link. Just talk amongst yourselves. I don't know who did
that usually helps. Yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
Tony, how about you? What did you do in guns? That always takes a second or two.
Not necessarily. Been busy for a bit. I did some reload. I actually loaded some. Sorry, Adriel, this is not for you. You haven't provided me the brass yet, but I've loaded some 6.5 Mannlicher Schoenhauer for a friend. He doesn't know it yet. And it's actually been a long time coming. Yeah, I did check all of them have powders. I think he bought it was not a Carcano, it was a Mannlicher of sorts. I think a Greek Mannlicher 1906 or 1903 carbine. So came in this odd cartridge. I was the only one of the friends who stepped up saying, okay, well, we'll do some reloads on it. I think the rounds themselves retail for about $3 a shot, brand new these days, PPU, Serbia made. The brass themselves, these are brand new brass from X Reload, are just slightly, they just increased the price recently. He is very much a, how do you say, indecisive person. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna get the dyes. Okay, I told him, okay, the powder's on sale, so we're gonna get the powders. We never got the brass. So I was like, okay. He is in kind of a rough spot in his life right now. 2025 hasn't been kind to him. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna pick it up now. I'm getting large rifle primers as well, since I didn't see the CCIs. That was about 2 months ago, so it's not too relevant. But it's like, okay, I'm gonna pick them up as a gift. If you want to repay me later, that's fine. If he doesn't, that's just my gift to him. So I loaded some of the 6.5. I don't think you've shot that gun yet, so that'll be fun to do. I've only done 10. This is funny, I've never loaded with brand new brass so far. So it's like, do I go size it again or do I not? I've elected to not for the first 10. We're going to go on a range trip, hopefully, when he is a little bit more free. And we'll try them out. God, it was a miserable reloading experience. I'm glad that I'm not using RCBS die sets anymore. I moved most of my stuff to Lee's, but the standard die set, this was from probably show half a year ago. Picked them up from Prophet River in Lloydminster. They're kind of the more affordable 6.5 Maliker dies you can find out there. I think Redding has a set. Hornady have a custom thing. And also, first, the box is a pain in the ass. Hopefully I don't break it. Okay. So I got the special die shell holder for it too, because Lee doesn't make a 6.5 Maliker die set, so they don't really have a recommendation.
Close enough. There's one close enough for it. Because I use it.
You would think so, but even the RCBS one that's proper is still very loose. Okay, so what RCBS says is this shell holder will work for 6.5 Carcano. So, okay, Lee has a 6.5 Carcano die set. Which shell holder do they use? They use the Lee shell holder number 2. I was like, okay, so that will be the same shell holder as 308. I'm going to prime on that. And then the rounds start to skip the rim. So I don't think it's that, first, the gun isn't mission critical. Second, it's not that critical. I only load 10. Third, it wasn't like bending the rim because I'm just priming. I'm not using it to size the brass. Mm-hmm. But still, that was not a great look. Also, I really dislike the RCBS way of setting the seating stem. You have this hex key on top, which serves as the locking mechanism, and then you have your flathead where you put in to adjust the seating depth. I just prefer Lee die sets.
I just go finger tight on both those, Tony, and it works fine.
It didn't work well for me. I've done it before.
I used those last night, and I loaded like 150 rounds of that.
I know. I've loaded plenty of 223 back on my old RCBS die set. Mm-hmm. Not a fan, especially for a lot of die manufacturers, RCBS included. They like crimp and seat on the same step. I've largely moved away from that process. Always crimp and seat on 2 steps, just how I prefer it.
I just don't crimp at all anymore. Why crimp? For like bolt actions and that kind of thing? I don't bother.
I don't know.
Semi-auto, maybe.
Well, a lot of the 223 stuff I'm shooting out of a pump action gun that I'm questioning if I cycle harder than a gas gun, maybe. Especially on the rechamber. You might
want to crimp on a pump. Like I would agree there. So, but like on a bolt action, like on that Mannlicher or something like that, I don't know if I'd bother crimping. I always back mine off, so I'm not crimping at all, and I'm just seating.
That's fair. And this time I did prepare all my brass very carefully because they're new. So I did do separate steps, manual chamfer and deburr. So I haven't seen any kind of a jacket shaving as the 208 loads I've done. I haven't even shot those yet. We'll see if jacket shaving will result in terrible performance. That is yet to be determined. And yeah, that's about it. Reloaded some ammunition. That's about it for me this week.
Awesome. Well, in that case, let's do upcoming events. Kelly or Adriel, do you care to read any of the upcoming Maple Seeds? All right, somebody just moved it. Oh, you're muted, Adriel.
That would help. Yeah,
Yep.
You're
exactly.
both muted, yeah.
Wait,
April
was I?
26th at Frontenac in Ontario. That one's going to be opening soon. May 3rd,
Oh yeah.
KTSA Kamloops. That's going to be coming up. I'm going to be doing a doubleheader at Sherwood Park, May 24th and 25th. That'll be in Alberta. And I really should have that open. So I might just go, if I have time,
Do
just
that.
open that right now. Yeah. I have to make
So-
the events.
Yeah,
Do we have any,
so-
do we have any made yet?
What?
Do we have any events in Eventbrite made yet?
Yeah, several.
Several for this year?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm going to copy them.
I spent Monday night working with our BC team on how to do that, and then I also committed to the one at Frontenac. So I guess I'm doing a few things, stuff.
You need to go shoot guns.
I know.
No. You need to mail me some targets. I
Oh.
need to fill in a form, I think.
I was going to say, did you fill in a form? Because I don't remember getting one from you.
No, I didn't fill in a form.
Put in a ticket.
I'll put in a ticket.
Put
The
in a ticket.
is, I need targets. I got everything else. I just need targets.
Can you put me in a ticket before the end of the week, please?
Yes, I'll
'Cause
I'll
I
put in
can
the
go-
ticket.
Thank you. Because I'm planning to go to the storage locker this weekend.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'll put it in right now. Did I just email you, or do you want the real ticket, the form?
Real ticket. I want.
Okay, I'll give you the real ticket.
Official ticket. Make it official.
I'll do it.
So they can do the accounting at the end of the year. Very important.
One.
How's the Kelly? How's the calendar signing looking? I still got it on the schedule.
Yeah. So we had a calendar signing at the Toronto Sportsman Show. And yeah, I think they're done now.
We actually had a gunny girl from this calendar and one from last year at the show, which was cool.
Yeah.
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 IPSC Nationals. Yes, no, anybody? No.
I don't even think
No,
the final
it's-
details are out, are they?
It just says IPSC Nationals on the teleprompter, and I'm
it's
reading
happening.
the teleprompter.
I think it might.
Yeah.
I think everyone was going on provincial invite for that, I believe. So,
There.
But Tony needs to get back to Ken because I think he got offered a media spot.
Oh,
What I'm hearing is it sounds like we have some stale dated stuff on our show notes. Is that correct?
Little bit.
Oh.
I'm gonna blame our producers.
Yeah.
Hunting Gear Guy, firearms training.ca.
Yeah. This weekend? No, next weekend.
Next
April 5th and 6th in Devon. April 5th is sold out. But if you want your RPAL, there's that one in there. And then April 26th, 27th at Sherwood Park. That one's open as well.
Awesome. 3-gun.
This is mine.
Oh,
This is my baby.
you do it.
I'm match
Oh, you-
directing it and everything.
Oh, nice.
So I wanted, like, we're talking with the guys, like, let's do a rimfire thing. Yeah, let's like make it like high round count and that kind of thing. And I said I wanted to do it, and therefore I'm doing it. So it's gonna be a 2-day high round count rimfire rifle and shotgun match. No pistol required, so anyone can get into it. And high round count, like I want 40 rounds minimum for the rimfire rifle per stage.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and a little bit of shotgun just to like mix it up a bit, but mostly a lot of rimfire rifle. We're only going 2 divisions: limited, unlimited. Limited is going to be 10 rounds on the rifle, no fancy whiz bang stuff on the shotgun, no mags, no red dot or whatever. Unlimited is
Unlimited.
The first rule is safe. Yep.
All right, we've got the
Yep.
CCFR AGM. You can check that out at www.ccfragm.ca. And perfect timing. We've got
Speaking of which,
Tracey Wilson here for our main topic.
Hey
Tracey,
guys,
lovely to see you.
that's nice to see you too. I have not seen you in so long.
I know. I haven't seen you in person in years.
It's been a very long time. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to be honest. Kelly literally got me out of the bathtub. You know, like one day, this isn't even a joke. I actually shared this podcast. I said, I'm literally just crawling out of the bathtub and then I'm going to jump on. But a long day of politicking. I'm doing my best to help my EDA. We were out moving stuff out of a storage unit. Everything was frozen to the floor. Like it was a total nightmare. Anyways, I got back from that, shared some dinner with the puppies, and I said to Colin, I'm just going to go take a quick hot bath. I get in there with a glass of wine. It's full of bubbles, and I look, and Kelly's like, can you come on Slamfire? And I'm like, you know what? I always sacrifice for the cause, right? So I pulled the plug, and here I am.
you do. So thank you.
Pull the plug.
I
Literally.
appreciate that. As somebody who loves a good bath with a glass of wine, Tracey, we appreciate you.
Of course, anything for you guys. But yeah, I get it. Things are not looking great. I said the other day, I made a post talking about Jagmeet Singh because he's the real tragic story of this election. Everyone's talking about how Pierre Poilievre's blown his lead and all this stuff is going on. That's not true. The polling for Poilievre is pretty standard to where it was 2 months ago when we were polling to get 240 seats. The thing that's changed is the left vote, right? And I know people see that. They start to panic. But it's exactly what I said would happen if they got a new leader. Everyone wanted Trudeau to retire or resign. And I was like, oh, no. You want him to lead you into an election so this party doesn't breathe new life in. Unfortunately, I hate to say I'm always right, but I'm usually right on this political stuff, right? So sure enough, that's exactly what's happened. Now, it's only a couple days into the campaign. Things have been crazy. I am keeping a running list. I'm going to show you guys this right on air here. I'm keeping a running list in notes on my phone. And I can't say what it says here, but it's Carney Frig Ups. And I've got a running list of everything he's screwed up in 3 days. So, the campaign is a little rough for him so far. Things will swing back and forth. And at the end of the day, the poll that matters most, of course, is the voting booth. A lot of people are saying to me, do you believe these polls? Do you believe these polls? And look, we have to be rational. If you believe them when they were the other way and said that we are looking at a conservative majority, you can't all of a sudden not believe them. The polls are true, but here's the thing. It's the fresh beginning of a campaign. We've got over a month to swing it, and we can do it. Now, what we can really do, I ditched the wine for a water because I'm trying to behave over here. But what we can really do is, look, we can influence this vote. Rod and I just got back from Toronto Sportsman Show, and we talked about this endlessly there. People, gun owners are worried. They don't feel the confidence that we had a couple months ago. And that's true. But there's stuff we can do to change it because we are a massive voting bloc. We talk about being 2.4 million gun owners strong, but it's actually way bigger than that because I want you to think of it this way. And we're going to have some stuff coming out. Rod's got a video and we've got a whole campaign that's rolling out. I think starting Friday, we're going to talk about it on the next podcast. But by the end of next week, the whole thing will be out and it's going to blow you guys away. But the most important thing we can do is vote as a block. And I'm going to tell you how it breaks down. A lot of people at Toronto Sportsman Show were like, I'm only one vote. And does it really matter? Does my one vote make a difference? And I said, okay, let me tell you my secret. I am also just one vote. I'm one person. I'm one Canadian. I get one ballot. But there's people I can directly influence. Now, there are people who are dead set voting Liberal. I've got them in my family. I've got them in my friends group. I'm not going to waste a moment of my time on someone that has already decided. But what I'm going to go for is those people that I can have influence over. So, of course, as you know, I live here with Colin. I very clearly have influence over how he feels. So now I've got 2 votes. Between the 2 of us, we've got 5 adult children, and we can absolutely influence them. Most of this election, aside from the gun stuff, is also about the future of our young people. If they ever want to get out of our basements, this is what we got to do. So now I have 7 votes because we have 5 kids between us. Well, those adult children all have spouses. So now I've got 12 votes. And that's literally just the very inner circle. So if every gun owner sat down after this show is over tonight and just make a short list, get out your pen and your piece of paper and think about that. Who can you directly influence? You can branch into some of your colleagues at work, your friend circle, maybe casual shooters that you shoot with that, are not dead set conservatives, definitely family members, and make a list. Like I said, go for the people who are in the mushy middle or who you can influence. Make that list. And then what you got to do is, even if you take the same message and you copy and paste it to each one of them, you have to lay it out. And I made a tweet about this yesterday, and I said, my conversation about politics and the upcoming election has changed with the people in my life. And we've argued about, different policies and tax cuts and, Carney's experience versus Pierre's political experience. And at the end of the day, I have one question for them. I need to look them in the eyes and ask them, are you going to vote for a party that is going to send armed law enforcement to my door and confiscate property that I've owned for decades safely and without issue? And I've done nothing to deserve this. Are you going to vote for that? And that's a really serious question to ask somebody. And at the end of the day, that's what they have to answer. So you're going to make that list, everybody you can influence over. You're going to send them some really serious conversation. If you can do it in person, even better. But I know we're not all close together. You're going to try and influence them. And then you're going to, if you can, you're going to book off election day or even during the advanced polling. And you're going to say, okay, John, I can influence you. I've sent you this message. You've committed to vote in favor of the things that I would like you to do. I'm going to pick you up. I'll bring you a coffee and you're going to go and vote. I'm going to bring you and we're going to go vote together. And you're going to do that with everybody on the list. And it's going to be a little bit of work. And normally all we say is, make sure you get out and vote. It's not going to be enough. That's the truth. And I feel bad about that because I've always proudly said I never tell people how to vote. And that's still true, but I'm definitely going to influence their decision. So that's going to be a really important thing you can do. We also have sent out 3,500 posters across the country with some information about this, about how you can increase your vote, what you need to do. There's a bunch of stuff you can do for your local candidate. Again, I can't tell people who to vote for, but find your firearms friendly candidate. I know what party that is, one with a viable chance of winning. And you're going to go volunteer. You're going to find them. We're going to post the link so that you can go find out who is the candidate in your area. Where is your EDA? Not everybody's involved, so I get it. And you can go door knocking. They give you a cheat sheet of things to talk about. If you're not comfortable with that, that's okay too. There's going to be stuff to do back at the campaign office. They're going to be looking for people to fill their trunks and their trucks with signs and hammers and go out and install lawn signs and campaign signs. There's literature that needs to be folded. There's phone calls that need to be made. There's all kinds of things, driving volunteers, picking up voters and driving them. There's 1,000,001 activities you can do. And we've got 33 days to find out if we can save our guns or not. Because I assure you that if we lose this election to the Liberals again, a 4th term of Liberal government will be the end of gun ownership. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. I'm not being hyperbolic. I mean, maybe some people might still have their single shots or the odd bolt action, but firearm ownership as we know it, and we've enjoyed it for decades, will absolutely be over. So we either do the work or we pay the price, and that's it. That's a very serious message.
Yep, completely agree.
Yeah. So, but like I said, there's hope. Look, man, I did that list. I wrote mine out of everybody I can, influence, and I had 42 people. So if you think about that, I'm just one gun owner, one vote. but I'm actually 42. So there's a lot of people who have a lot closer circles of friends or bigger circles of friends than I do, right? So whether you're 4 people or 45 people, if we all did that same activity and really, really got the gun vote out, we could influence this and have a conservative majority government without doubt.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So there is reason to have hope, but it means you got to do the work. And just having a membership to the CCFR or listening to Slamfire or even just going and voting yourself isn't quite going to cut it this time.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's kind of my message. And like I said, we're going to be putting out stuff over the next week and a half on all of this. So, you don't have to do that right this second, but I need you guys to all prepare to get that work done. And if we do it, we will win.
I'm really excited. Rod gave a couple of us a sneak peek at the Sportsman show this last week here.
Yes.
It's great. And I know you said you don't like influencing other people's votes. I agree. Living on the left coast.
Yeah.
Bit of a challenge to encourage folks to potentially vote conservative. I do know that we are going to benefit from a vote split. If you got some real left friends, just encouraging them not to vote liberal can go a long way too, right? Like, there's several places here where the conservatives stand to win if the left vote splits between the NDP and the Liberals. So, that is a thing for folks to consider as well. Like, if you've got some left family, left friends, maybe just discouraging them from voting for the exact same party that has kind of run the country into the ground for the last decade. And you're like, okay, great, you can't vote conservative, but do you really want to vote for these guys again? That it can be as simple as that. But you're right, the social circles and groups, that's the way to go. I've got a pretty big social circle. It's actually wild how many gay and queer gun owners that I know in this area. And there's some folks that are gonna be voting conservative for the very first time, and that's kind of entertaining. So yeah, it's gonna be a big one. Yeah.
Well, and I'll give you another example of a weird riding. A lot of people are very upset because, as you know, it was announced this week that Holly Soussouvien, spokesperson Natalie Provost, who's also a survivor of a horrific mass shooting, one of the darkest days in Canadian history. But she is running for the Liberals in her Montreal area riding. And, a lot of people are upset about that. And there was a post in the CCFR group saying, what do we do? Get out there and help the conservative candidate. And, I watched the polls very closely for every single riding. And I looked at that riding, and the conservative, unfortunately, has absolutely zero chance of winning that riding. So I said, no, get out and help the bloc candidate.
Yeah.
And the person replied to me and said, well, they're not any better for guns. I'm like, that's true. However, even if we win a conservative government, she's polling to win that riding.
Yes.
So can you imagine Pierre Poilievre and Raquel Doncho and all those conservative MPs standing up to do, pro-gun or, pro-public safety stuff? And they've got to look across the way at Natalie Provost, who, of course, is going to, wear that badge constantly. If you argue with her, you will be attacking her. So it's going to be really prickly, so just having her in the House of Commons, even if her party doesn't win, is a bad thing. So get out, help, donate to that bloc candidate. They're no better for gun owners, but in that particular riding, there's a special reason why. So you can check the status of your riding too. Go to Google and hit 338 Canada and the name of your riding, and you can see how your person is polling. And a lot of those ridings are very close between conservative and liberal. So you can make the difference by helping out, pitching in. Times are tough economically. I'm not, running around throwing money at candidates. In fact, I've never been very good at that, but I sure will pitch in. Tonight, I spent 3 hours emptying a frozen, dirty storage locker, digging up campaign stuff from 4 years ago, right? And just get out and do it. So
that's what we need to do. And I just think folks need to, we've been hit with strategic voting for years and years. There is a way, like you said, the ridings like that. Okay, great. Yeah, the bloc might not be our friend, but if we can convince enough people to split that vote or to vote for the bloc there, so we don't end up with someone like Natalie Provost in the House of Commons, that would be huge. And there's lots of places like that we need to pay attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. My phone's been ringing off the hook all day today too, with candidates reaching out. Everybody is super amped up, and we've got to keep that up. Do not let those polls get you down. In fact, let it inspire you, because we know we can win. 2 months ago, none of this would have been this way, right?
Nope.
So we know we can get back to that. A couple of variables are in play. The more Mark Carney talks, the less likable he is. His candidates are screwing everything up.
The bus.
Yeah, even in his press conference.
That was priceless.
That was really prickly, right? And, Brian Lilly was even, kind of mocking Mark Carney for screwing up Natalie Provost's name. And of course, he said she was a victim of the shooting at Concordia, which, this is a pretty significant event in Canadian history. But I said to Brian, look, don't pick on the guy. He doesn't know. He's not from here.
Yeah, he hasn't been in Canada for how long? So,
He's not from here. He doesn't know who she is. It's not his fault, But anyways, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff we can do. Oh, and my point about making fun of Jagmeet Singh, 2 or maybe 3 months ago, you were looking at the polling, and there was a number of non-confidence votes that the Conservatives had put forward in the House of Commons. Of course, Jagmeet Singh voted with the Liberals every single time. If he had voted with the Conservatives just one of those times, we would have already had an election by now. Pierre Poilievre would be the prime minister. We'd have a conservative majority government. Jagmeet Singh would be the official opposition, living here in Ottawa in Stornoway Mansion. And the Liberals would be reduced to a third, maybe fourth party, right? But because of Jagmeet Singh, we didn't get that. Now, looking at the polling right now, Jagmeet Singh's looking at maybe winning 6 to 7 seats. I'll remind you, in the last election, they won 24, I believe. Yeah. And you need 12 to have official party status. So all of that water carrying for the Liberals, all of those times he voted confidence in the Liberal government, all those policies he influenced, it didn't pay off. So there, things can swing the other way back again for the Conservatives. But like I said, it just depends how hard we're willing to work. And if everybody does just a little bit, then nobody has to do a lot, right?
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. So if you can't appeal to people about guns, appeal to them about the fact that their children are going to be living with them forever. Just,
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Do you want your kids out of your basement?
No. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Or the fact is that we can't afford to live. So we have to fix it.
I think a lot of what Carney's why he's got such high vote right now is people are projecting onto him. They believe he's like this guy who's going to be really good for Trump and fighting against him. But they just it's projection. They don't actually know. They're just guessing, right? So I'm hoping we get to hear him talk a little bit more, because he seems to make mistakes left, right, and center. I'd like to believe that French debate will help sway things a little bit more as well, because his French doesn't seem to be very strong. He seems to get kind of flustered, and that's when he makes his mistakes with names and that kind of thing. Yeah. But then again, I've also seen I talked to a gun owner on Sunday who said that he's voting for Carney because he thinks Carney's going to be better for Trump. I'm like, but you're not going to have any guns left afterwards. He's like, it's worth it for Trump.
Serious?
So I'm serious.
Yep.
So we need to hear this guy talk more.
When we talk about Trump, so Trump does say that he thinks that the Liberal government is going to be better for him, and conservatives are not. So
we're better for Trump, but that doesn't mean it's going to be good for Canada.
So and again, when we go down this line of thinking, right, when we look at the analysis of it and comparative to who likes Trump and who doesn't like Trump, well, everybody hates Trump. But anyways, from a perspective, Liberals actually don't really like Trump. If that's the case, then why are they thinking that Carney is going to be better?
I'll tell you why.
It's just mind-boggling.
You know, if you look at the breakdown in the polling too, the big chunk of people that have kind of swung over back to the Liberals, no offense to any boomers, but it's the boomer generation.
Yep.
And I'm not far behind the boomers, okay? So I understand it, but you have to also accept these are people who are comfortable. Maybe they're retired. They've already got their houses paid off. They're not facing the same challenges. Like I got a kid in her 30s and I got a kid in her 20s. They're not facing anywhere near the challenges that our kids are facing. I mean, back in their day, at 30 years old, you could be married, have one of the spouses out working and the other one staying home, work full time, 8 hours a day, come home and earn enough money to buy a house.
Yep.
Like that is not even remotely close to a reality right now.
Yeah.
And what happens is that generation is a little bit less online than we are. I mean, I'm probably at the upper end of this, right? I'm honest, I'm 52, but you talk about people in their 60s, 70s, 80s and up, they're not online the same way we are, and they get their news from CBC and CTV. And I was saying today, the mainstream media has their foot on the scale because it doesn't matter. Like, you know me, I got news on 24 hours a day. I got different screens. I got CPAC on one TV. I got CTV on another. I got CBC. And it's 24-hour, wall-to-wall, positive, fuzzy, heartwarming commentary and posts about Mark Harney. And then like angry, negative stuff about Pierre Poilievre. And people I love have been a victim to this, right? I go talk to them and they're like, oh, that Pierre Poilievre, he's horrible. He's just like a MAGA guy. And which is completely ridiculous, right? Like even Trump's like, that guy's not very MAGA. I don't like that guy, right? It's completely ridiculous, but this is what happens when you hear that 24 hours a day. And all they've been told is, yes, the economy has completely shit the bed in the last 10 years. However, this guy is this, international economist. He's going to save the day. That's just code language for globalist banker, right? But he's going to come in and save the day. And they stack up his international experience beside Poilievre, who is a lifetime politician. And they're like, oh, he's better for the job. Here's the problem. Not only do we have an economical problem, but we have a political problem. And that's Trump, right? So, when I look at somebody who I want to do politics and do policy and do it right, I want the expert. I want someone who's been doing it for 20 some years, not someone who gets in front of the camera and gets flustered and is yelling at reporters and, is so beneath being asked these questions, which is Mark Harney, right? So, yeah. It's a bit of a generation gap there. They're getting their news from the news, and it's not the same way it was when I was a kid.
It's an advantage for the news to make it look closer than it is, right? And to push for it to be closer, because that'll get them more clicks and that'll get more views. So it's not worth it to make it look like it's a blowout any which way.
That is a feeling I've had ever since like this all started. You watching all the pollsters, all the at the first hint of it. Oh, can we make this more exciting? Can this be more of a thing? Because like nobody's going to click on your article if it's like, surprise, after 2 years of the Conservatives being in supermajority territory, they're still in supermajority territory. Everybody's watching the news right now. Everybody's listening. Everybody's clicking. And I do feel like there has to be some element of that. Like you said, that thumb on the scale. It bothers me when I listen to any kind of terrestrial news, like drives me bananas. Exactly that, where it's like, oh, yeah, we are full on partisan in our tax funded news, aren't we? That's not good. Guys,
they have Rachel Gilmore doing the Friday fact check through the entire campaign on CTV. Rachel Gilmore, the same journalist, and I'm using quotes because she's been fired from anywhere she's ever worked. And now she's got some podcast called Bubblecast or something. I don't know. Some pink bubblegum thing she's doing. But she's the Friday fact check girl on CTV, which is absolutely insane. She's the same girl who said during the Freedom Convoy protest here in Ottawa, she said that the truckers were going into apartment buildings, setting the lobbies on fire and locking residents in, like the craziest stories. This was all proven false. She was proven a liar through the commission, like totally discredited. And she's your Friday fact check girl on CTV. Like
getting top-notch fact checking for sure.
Oh yeah. So this is what I mean. Like, we are in upside down clown world. You just got to stay grounded. Just don't don't even read that stuff. Don't listen to it. Don't hear it. If it comes on the news, just turn it off. Put on some AC/DC or something. Forget about it, and just put your nose to the grind and get the work done. Make your list. Influence people. Get them out to vote. Take some holiday time or call in sick to work. Whatever you got to do. If you need a note, I'll write it for you. But get out there and get people out to the polls. Because a lot of people say, yeah, okay, fine, I'll vote Conservative. And then election day comes and they're watching the coverage and it's negative about Polyev. And they're like, oh, I'm tired. I had a long day. I feel beaten up. My vote's not going to make a difference. And they stay home. Like over a third of Canadians don't vote. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Those people alone would win an election if they got up and went. So, we got to make sure, let the Liberals feel that way, or the NDP voters, let them feel that way and stay home. We have to drag our people to the polls, kicking and screaming, throw a bag over their head, zip tie their arms, get them in the car and get to the voting booths. That's it.
It's important to remember, and everybody should look at Canada 338. Look at your riding. Look at last time, how many votes that riding was won by. Usually less than 1,000. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's fewer than 100. Like, depending on the seat that you're in, like a little bit can actually make a difference. That one vote can make a difference. And for the love of God, people, please don't vote PPC. It's just not this time.
Well, yeah. I mean, they got a lot of great policies. A lot of people,
I know.
The PPC bros on Twitter are always like sending me Max's firearm policy. And I'm like, well, this is actually his conservative leadership policy that we helped him with. And he just pulled off the CPC logo and slapped a PPC logo on it. So yeah, I've read it because we wrote it, but it's easy to promise a world when you don't have any opportunity to ever have to deliver. Right. And a lot of people ask me, do you think Polyev will do the things that he says he'll do? And he has been very clear that he's going to reverse all the crap that's happened to us and instead focus on smuggled guns. I know, crazy extremist views, right? But he can only do that stuff if he wins. If he doesn't win, you lose your guns. If he gets a minority, there's some stuff he can do. You can roll back an OIC with an OIC. Can you get rid of C-21, which also includes the handgun freeze? No. None of the other parties are going to vote for him or vote with him on legislation. That will require legislation to be done. So the harder we work, the bigger government they get, the better our chances are, right? Yep. But I know I saw him Saturday morning for coffee before I went up to see Kelly. And he said to me, he shook my hand and he kind of grabbed my hand and held on to it. And he said, I'm going to do the things I told you I was going to do. And he's like, I have a spine of steel when it comes to that. And I'm like, I know you do. He goes, no, seriously, I've got a spine of steel when it comes to that. I'm like, yeah, I got it, but you don't have to convince me. I'm already there. We're good. Just win the election, Yeah. And that's why you never see me taking pictures with him, posting. Like, I'm very protective. Yep. It's more important for me to win an election and save your guns than it is for me to have stupid photos to try and garner donations or memberships. Like, I'm in it to win it. I'm not in it for fluff, right? So, yeah. Anyways, he's very confident. He talks about guns far more than I would recommend. Hardcore on the topic. Yeah, he does. I tell him all the time, you don't got to talk about it that much. And he's like, I'm talking about it. And every single rally, he talks about it.
He doesn't shy away from it.
No, this is what I mean. He's not going to O'Toole himself, but he can only do what he can do if he wins. So, I want that majority because I want the handgun freeze off. Getting back, our sporting rifles isn't good enough to me. I need everything. So, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So we got work to do.
We got work to do, but there's a lot of people interested in doing that work at that show. I don't know about you. I met a whole bunch of young kids, like kids that this is their first time voting. There's a group of them that were like, yeah, we're organizing a door knocking thing. I was like, good for you guys. Like, and they're like, yeah, we want to be able to buy handguns. And like, great. Oh, yeah. Great. Like, more power to you. Get more friends. But like, you've got these these 20-year-old Zoomers now who are like, we can't buy homes. We can't do anything. And things are just getting perpetually worse. We're over it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
well-
I feel like all the demographics are in our favor, apart from the boomers.
Yeah, well, they are. And I mean, even you look at Carney's events, right? And it's sort of like that funeral atmosphere, and you look at the Polyev events, he just did one in like Stony Creek or whatever, near Hamilton. There was like 500 people in there and still thousands of people who didn't get in. Like,
Yep.
the momentum is there, but you got to see it across the finish line. He can do the rallies and do the work and make the policies and the promises and do all the things. But at the end of the day, it is just that one day that counts, right? So yeah, I'm, my parts of our CCFR election project will pretty much be done over the next week. I'm hoping to go to Quebec this weekend to the outdoor show there and try and parlez-vous with some people. I don't speak French, but I'm going to try my hardest. And then I'm pretty much kind of done with that stuff. So my focus then is, for once, I'm going to actually get to stay in my riding and do the work that I'm always preaching at everyone else to do. You'll remember last election, I spent 16 days living out of a U-Haul van driving around 250,000 pamphlets, right? So we're doing something different this time. So I'm going to get to do that work with my candidate, and I'm going to sort of be blogging about it as I go, to encourage other people to do it with their candidate and show you, like, there is jobs for literally everybody. You don't have to be, a door knocker talker if you don't want to. Man, there's literature to fold. Like, there's literally jobs for everybody. So, yeah.
Well,
There's jobs for everybody. Everybody needs to vote. Everybody should take somebody to vote.
Yeah.
I think I speak for everyone. And I know you guys, I know you get lots of thank yous, but thank you nonetheless for all of the effort and all the work. And also thank you for coming on out of what was probably a very well-deserved bath.
Yep.
Well, that's okay. This is more important to me. I can take a bath anytime, but yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. And I do appreciate the thank you, but I accept it on behalf of the 300 volunteers at the CCFR, because Rod and I kind of get a lot of thanks. We're out front, but honestly, they do 1,000 times more work than we do. So I accept it on their behalf.
All right. I real quick, I'm just going to say this because Rod is also very gracious that way. Again, being in the booth with him for a couple of days, that's the first words out of his mouth every time. Like, thank them. And I do appreciate that. But the thing I appreciate about the two of you being out in front is exhausting. And I don't know. I feel probably the same about you as Rod. Like, Rod's not super out. He doesn't love being out in front of that many people, right? You probably don't either. I know I don't. And so to put yourself in that position is challenging, to put yourself in that line of fire. So there is an appreciation level for that. And also just, from a CCFR field officer, I do appreciate the graciousness of you guys, passing on that love too.
I love that. Yeah, Rod's definitely more comfortable in front of a camera than an audience.
Yep.
I like being with people. I don't necessarily love being on stage. I love doing radio though. Talk radio is so fun. So exciting to do it. That's my favorite. But yeah, I do love doing the shows though, because I love being with other gun people and just being out of Ottawa and seeing other humanoids that are normal.
Yeah.
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 Awesome. Well, get everyone out there to vote.
Yeah.
This is it.
Out
Yeah,
in
make
force.
sure you follow us on social media. Sign up for the CCFR newsletter. You're not going to miss our content because, as you know, we just saturate the internet with stuff, and we're going to be putting a ton of money behind it in advertising. So there's going to be virtually no way to miss it, because you're going to be just, drowning in it, which is great. But yeah, follow along on my social media, and I'm going to blog about my adventures working on a campaign.
Will
Yeah.
do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks so much, Tracy.
All right, guys. Thanks for the opportunity. We'll see you soon.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you, Tracy.
Bye, guys.
Okay.
Well, that was wonderful. Thanks so much to Tracy again.
Where'd we leave off?
We
Tony, you
left
want
off.
to talk about the BTSA Rimfire?
Sure. So BTSA Rimfire, we have a post on BTSA Precision Rimfire Club. You can find us there on Facebook, and there is some dates for you Rimfire enthusiasts. April 19th, NRL 22, that's at BTSA. 27th, Pro Series 8 stage, also at BTSA. And I believe there are some dates for basically every single month. There's also a few CRPS matches, July 5th and 6th at Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. The 13th in Tabor, 19th High River, 20th also July, King of 22 ELR in High River, Alberta. PRS Rimfire, Foothills region, April 12th, Rustbuster in Tabor. May 3rd, Spring into Summer in Fernie, BC. August 2nd and 3rd in Medicine Hat, Alberta.
Ooh. Cool. All right, moving on to the news. So we'll start here. Looks like a gunmaker closes up shop in New Jersey, taking 146 jobs with it to the Midwest. That's a sad story, but not an uncommon one these days. Go Big Tactical had their web host kick them off. Oh yeah, I saw that. That's again not an unusual occurrence. There's still a real push against firearms anything on the internet. Read the line. I didn't. This one doesn't have a thing, so I'll read it afterwards. Mark Carney, don't understand the shooting. Yeah, we talked about this. Mark Carney didn't know where Natalie Provost is from and what.
Call her the wrong name.
Called her the wrong name and mentioned the wrong shooting that she wasn't a part of because, again, he's just a visitor here. Mr. 3 passport multimillionaire, master of the universe doesn't actually have to care about the politics of the country that he's planning on ruling. Absolutely bananas.
Well, he still won't.
Yes.
There we go.
It's not hard.
In case he's listening.
He's definitely
not listening
to anyone. Apparently, that's part of his problem. Apparently, he doesn't like to listen to folks, but I'm shocked.
Most billionaires don't, by the way.
I know, right? This one I put in. The block thinks they'll
put a pin in that. We can talk after the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
Absolutely. Cool. The block thinks the liberals are worse than Trump. I'm just going to read a little quote here. It's translated from French, but as for Quebec, quite sincerely, I am much more afraid of the Liberals than Trump. Now, that was a Bloc MP. I can't remember his name because I didn't put it in here, but that's a National Post article that I thought was hilarious. And apparently the Liberals are not happy about that one. And then, so I don't know if you guys want to talk about the Alberta hunting reg changes in Bill 41.
I do, because some of them I'm really happy about. Some of them I don't really care about, but it's going to help other people, so we could cover those as well. Tony and I are still in Alberta. This is so one of these is one that I kind of heard some rumors about, and I knew was coming, and I'm happy it's here. So previously, 24 cal was the minimum caliber they needed in Alberta to hunt big game. So 243 and up, 6mm and up. Now it's 22 caliber is the minimum. So 22 caliber center fire is the minimum.
That's awesome.
So that means I think it's awesome too, because I think I've got a buddy of mine in Manitoba who used to hunt with, doesn't anymore, with his WK 180C in 223 because he's in a bushy area. His shots are 75, 50 meters pretty much every time. 223 is fine for that distance.
Oh yeah, no, I've taken muleys with my X95 a couple of times.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be so handy. But did I just buy a rifle for nothing?
No.
Not quite for nothing, but
like 223, it works within 100 yards. It works. Beyond that, it's not really a lot of power. Like at the muzzle, you're just barely over 1,000 foot-pounds. It's not a lot of power. 308's like way better, Tony.
For sure. And I think this brings to my hunting adventure. I borrowed your gun for the first hunt. The hunt I went on myself took the slug shotgun. So I'm thinking if I were to wound an animal at that point, I might say if I had my 223, I may have made the shot easier just because I'm more confident with that kind of a platform, better aiming reticle, more familiar with that. I showed her a gun. I pulled the trigger. Yeah. Just a thought. I didn't hurt nothing, so I didn't see nothing.
we can get some more practice in with your 308.
Practice.
And once it's
practice.
fixed, right? Did Savage send you a label?
Nope.
Have you followed up?
Lots of time till
Nope.
November, I guess.
Yeah, lots of time to November. I might shoot it again before I send it out.
Yeah. All right.
So what else changed?
Okay, yeah. So you can use your 223s or 22-250 or that kind of thing. No 204 Ruger, and still no rimfire, which that makes sense.
Yeah, don't do that.
Bow poundage went from 40 to 35 as a minimum. That doesn't really affect me, but okay, yeah, maybe that's fine. I think with modern broadheads, they're pretty sharp. Like they're still going to do lethal damage at that low. I wouldn't use it, but
I'm mixed on that.
I think I'm at 60, 65. I don't go for like a big heavy 70 because every once in a while I have a stupid shot where I can like pull it straight or something like that. Lasers are now okay. I don't particularly care. I don't know why this how they weren't allowed. I don't know.
If you have for most lights, it would be laser light combo. Would that still is it just you can't use it or you can't have it?
I don't know. But like, what help is it going to, like, most lasers aren't daytime visible.
Yeah.
It's like, unless you're like really, really close, they're not daytime visible. You can't see them anyways. So who cares?
Gotta get the hipfire in.
Yeah, it's not a performance enhancing device. So, and it's not, you're not going to be pointing at the deer's eyes or something like that either. So I don't see the point. I did say some notes in there about electronic tags, but we'll have to see how they actually implement that.
Yeah.
I'm probably thinking printed and then, electronically delivered and then printed.
Well, that's how it was before. You could buy them online, then you just had to go get your sticker.
Yes.
Right, but maybe they will eliminate the sticker finally?
No, I don't think they can do that.
There's got to be something you put on the carcass.
Right. From what I've seen, a lot of U.S. states you can print your own and then you just have to zip tie onto
I like
the
it.
animal.
I like it.
Yeah.
I would zip tie like some crappy printed thing. That would be fine for me.
That's what we do here in Ontario.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that. Youth hunting with their pal on their own is no. I didn't know this wasn't okay, but apparently you need to be with an adult or something.
How young can you get a youth pal?
12.
Okay, so I think it was 14 before. Maybe I was wrong.
No, 12. You can hunt grouse starting at 10. Big game, 12 minimum. But grouse is 10. So I guess like with a 10-year-old, you definitely want them to be within arm's reach of an adult. But like 13, 14-year-old, like, man, that's getting to the point where you could give them a 22 and say, go shoot a grouse or not.
Wasn't the whole point of the youth pal so that they could go off away from
federally? Yeah, it is. But the provincial regs weren't synchronized with that federal regulation, right? The
pest control.
I don't know. This is hunting here.
Farms get away with a lot more stuff.
Yeah, and the other thing that I saw, I don't know where it is here, but high vis clothing was apparently a requirement. I didn't even know it was a requirement.
Never saw that in the reg.
I don't think Ahia ever said anything about it. I did mine within 2 years for sure. I think it was the start of 2024 or end of 2023, and didn't mention anything about high vis as a requirement. I do believe it was recommended.
Now we just don't have to. That's the regs. We don't have to.
Yeah, you'll still probably wear it. Eh?
Oh yeah, if on public land, I'm still wearing it. You don't need to use the hide of the bear and cougar. This is actually good because I know a lot of people want to hunt bear for the bear fat or the meat, and the hide is like
well, and it's expensive to get it tanned and
very yeah. And then what do you get? You get a bear rug that your dog chews on and wrecks in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah,
I like it. Grizzly in considerations. I didn't see that in the regs, but someone else did.
I didn't see it in the regs, but I do see that the minister was talking about it. I believe this time, from what I've seen, there's kind of a focus to youth hunting, attracting newer hunters, I guess, and kind of nuisance animals. And I think there's quite a few higher profile grizzly things recently.
Well, yeah,
in recent years,
even around Grand Prairie, the grizzly population is on the rise. And so, like, having a draw for grizzly, absolutely good for that.
Yeah. legalize hunting from wheelchairs. Okay, in the regs they said that like there was a risk that they might be considered a vehicle from before.
Oh, stop.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
I think like a
it's-
mechanized one, not a rolling around one.
yeah,
Well,
guys, I think like Fish and Wildlife, if they saw someone in a wheelchair hunting, I don't think they're gonna like ticket him with shooting from. a
No,
vehicle.
I don't think so.
This is like this is like they're covering like
They're
maybe
just-
an eventuality. Maybe that someone got charged. But like
Clarification
boy,
always good, right? It doesn't hurt.
it's not a bad thing to clarify and be more specific in the regs. Yeah. You can use leashed dogs to track wounded big game. I like it. Makes sense. If you tag a diseased animal with parasites, you may surrender it and maybe get a replacement tag.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Does that count
I do like that.
CWD?
I don't know.
I
No, because
believe
by
it
the
should,
time you get your
because
results,
parasites and
by the time
no.
you get results
Yeah.
on CWD, your hunting season's going to be over. It takes a couple of
I
months.
guess
to
it's
get
not
your
as
back.
fast as Wisconsin. Wisconsin's kind of leading in the continent for that, I think.
You might. Okay. What if you shot a deer and you walk up to it like, oh my god, this like it's wasting away. You can see the ribs, like there's clearly something. And he was doing some weird circles when I shot it. Like,
Yeah.
this deer's was on the way down. Maybe then
Read-
you could go talk to the Fish and Wildlife and say, yo,
Read the regulation. Read it again.
This is still in a proposal phase, so it's not quite done yet. For Alberta hunters out there, every year on your reg book, the first few pages will include the changes. So we're expecting to see these changes in the 2025 book for fall of 2025 to winter of 2026, which isn't out yet.
yeah, I read the regs of the bill, Kelly, and it was quite ambiguous because it was like
Yeah.
you can surrender it, you may get a replacement tag.
Go back to
not
the actual
shall.
regulation, though.
What's that?
Go back and can you read it aloud again? What does it say
Oh, I gotta go
specifically?
into it specifically.
Sorry.
One
Talk
second
amongst
here.
yourselves. While he's
Uh,
getting it.
well,
It's
While
still
he,
just a
looks
bill.
that up. There was another one.
A
Hunting
person
with boats.
tags does. I've got it.
Okay.
If a
Go.
person tags wildlife or wildlife materially infested by parasites and surrenders
Just-
the wildlife,
Yeah.
the wildlife officer, the minister may issue a replacement tag to that person on payment of the prescribed fee.
Right. Infested with parasites, right? How do you know it's chronic waste? You don't know it's infested with parasites, right? So if you
No, there is no
surrender it,
parasite for.
Yeah,
chronic
CWE is on a
Correct.
it's
So
a
therefore,
prion disease.
it's
Hmm.
yeah. Where I'm going to, it wasn't may or shall, or it was infested with parasites. If-
diseased,
right,
D-
it's
diseased wildlife,
diseased.
or the wildlife is infested with parasites.
there you go.
Disease.
I would say CWD is diseased,
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the name, so
Hmm.
yeah.
but the
Okay.
like may issue a replacement tag on payment of a prescribed fee. Like I don't know what.
Just
that
buy
means.
another tag.
Buy another tag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least it gives you the opportunity too, I guess.
I like the
Maybe.
idea. We'd like to see the execution on how it's done.
You're giving up
Yeah.
your deer. Give me another one. Give me another whatever. How much do you pay for a deer tag in Alberta?
$50.
Okay.
Not a supplemental's cheaper.
Yeah.
Hey, those like $25.
Mm.
Elk
It
was
sounds
like
not that
$50.
expensive. I might be wrong.
I might be thinking about wildlife certificate too. What else we get? The hunting with boats got clarified. I don't really care about this because I don't hunt with boats. But
Yeah, but this
boats
is
not moving.
interesting. I always understood you just couldn't be in a boat. You had to be on shore. But
I'm pretty sure back in the day that if you're in a boat that is manually powered, you are fine.
Yep.
mm,
They clarified it anyway, so
Yeah.
now it's more like boats moving. Tony,
Interesting.
you're saying that hunting's on the decline in Alberta?
That's what I've heard. It seems to be that there isn't. I don't know. At least it doesn't seem to. There seems the wildlife is on the growing pattern, and there isn't enough.
like maybe in the
harvesting
cities,
done?
like Edmonton, Calgary, there's less hunters. But I
I don't know. Where'd you get your data? Tony.
Okay, wait.
Which-
We can go by historic annual wildlife certificate sales. I'm just
Good idea.
downloading a spreadsheet right now, It's flat. It's been
Okay.
flat or at least I'm looking at one from 95 to 2005, flat.
Flat. So there you go.
Right around 90,000, 94,000 wildlife certificates, and right about 6 or so youth wildlife.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty flat.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I see no other data that's more recent than that.
Government official says the requirement for high-vis clothing hasn't been enforced for years. So I guess maybe there was a requirement.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just did a thing. 2023, there was 151,000 resident hunters in Alberta.
How many of them got wildlife development certificates though? Or maybe they didn't have those before. No, we did have. We've had those since the 70s. I know because I got a tag over there that says wildlife development certificate. It's from the 70s.
Oh my god. All right.
Anyways, let's keep
Yeah,
going. Let's keep going.
moving the truck along. All right. So new gun stuff. This sponsorship spot is vacant. If you would like to apply to be a sponsor, please message us at slamfireradio@gmail.com. All right. So we've got. Does somebody want to pop this up? The PSA left eject ARs. Well, that.
I don't know why they're demonstrating it with a right-handed shooters very often.
Yeah, that's all kinds of hilarious. Let's be honest, but okay. Well, if you live in the States in a place where you can have ARs and you're wrong-handed, PSA makes an AR-15 for you, or is making an AR-15 for you.
I believe there's 5-ish models coming out right now. I don't think there's a builder kit, which is very odd, but
They've got models for everything coming out. All right, and
It's another left-handed upper. Okay.
yeah, that's cool.
at least affordable now, right?
Yay! All right, and last but not least, Cabela's 10% off with local pickup. Get primers.
We discussed about a large rifle
we did.
primers.
Yeah.
Best price I can find on the internet right now.
Reasonable, and
No limit, because like before they had a limit, right? You could only buy so many of them.
true.
Now it's $15.99, but you can get 10% off using the code pickup. Click on our website first before you make a purchase.
Just gonna say, make sure you use our website link, and we will read about all of the primer purchases online. All right,
$150 for a lead sled.
that's not bad.
It's cheap enough where I'm getting one.
I don't want to kill my gun though.
You won't kill your gun. You don't have anything high enough recoiling to wreck it with that thing.
No, you're fine. All right. So we just did the main topic with Tracey already. I kind of gave her an intro. Did you want me to give you another?
No, keep going.
All right.
No.
Moving right along to listener feedback. Live interactions, we've only had a couple. Yeah, this one right here. It's sad to see our country fall to the facade that is the liberals. Oh, Tyler, do I ever agree with you? But isn't that always the way? Do we have any emails this week? I don't have any here.
I don't see any. There's just that old one about what's your business use case for 3D printing, but I think you guys covered that, right?
Tons of business use case. All right, then YouTube. Tony, did you want to do last week's YouTube videos?
You bet. Eddie, as always, completing the mission 50% plus. Dustin, how about calling yourself Wet Coast Warrior? You definitely seem to have the warrior spirit. I'm glad you are pro-gun. I didn't realize Desperate Housewives have any gun content. Then again, I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes. I probably still won't be watching Desperate Housewives, at least not the mainstream television version. There's like a director's cut something.
I don't know. I'm just streaming it, but it's spectacular. There's actually more gun content than I thought there would be. And their pro-gun Republican Bree, she's my favorite character and is the most.
What the fuck are we talking about?
This is from last week.
This is from last week. You need to come on more. I was
Holy
wearing a Desperate
Jesus.
Housewives shirt with this. She was holding a shotgun. I watched the episode. It's great. There's another episode where she's teaching someone else to shoot, and she's like, "You want to grip it tight, hold it like a dove, but firm enough not to kill it, but tight enough to not let it fly away." And I was like, "That's a really good description of how tightly to hold a pistol." It was really great. Anyway, yeah, the Wet Coast Warrior. I don't know about putting wet in my name, but maybe. I appreciate that, Eddie. You need to come on the show. You've already become a fixture of it. Do we have any other?
You
comments?
bet. 2 more. Kyle, your 1022 build is coming along well. Even if it takes you until 2030 to complete it, it will be less time than it took me to complete one of my builds. Between fitting issues with the barrel, receiver, and stock, and pausing because I'm too cheap to buy replacements, it was 10 years before that build was finally complete, but it shoots well now. So yeah, if you finish in 2030, you're still 5 years ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
And last one from Eddie. I like the idea of having Canadian firearm history as a main topic of the episode. Isn't Daniel Fritter, the owner editor of Caliber? Yeah, so Dan from Caliber magazine, a Canadian firearm history buff. I'm not sure about that part. Maybe bring him back for another episode. Yeah, we got 2 thumbs up. Well, I saw we got 2 thumbs up on that comment, but in fact, we got 2 thumbs up on every single Eddie's comment. So,
Of course.
good.
All right. Looks like Facebook, Instagram, Discord, nothing there. Spots or links. We'll read those eventually.
I do want a jump in on Discord. I did post some of our sources and stuff, event dates for the BTSA Rimfire Club, the National Post documents, and the bill from the Alberta hunting things on our Discord in the channel from the show.
Awesome. We do, as we said before, have an affiliate link for Cabela's and Brownells on the site, slamfireradio.com website. Please use that link when you're going to buy from them. It helps us, and we'll read out your purchases anonymously every end of month or two or whenever we feel like it. And yeah, thanks to our supporters on Patreon and Player. If you'd like to support us, you can find us on these platforms. And if you would like to email the show, please send your emails to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Moving right along to shout-outs. Adriel, do you have any shout-outs? No. Kelly, how about you?
I do have a shout out. I'm going to shout out to Tracey for coming on tonight and for coming Saturday and seeing me. And I want to actually give a shout out to all of our listeners who reached out to me over the past couple of weeks. Thank you. And you guys for holding down the fort here. So just want to say thanks.
We got you.
Yep.
Kyle, any shout-outs for you?
No shout-outs. A recommendation. I know I'm probably late to the party, but if you like history and that, the Fat Electrician covers history in quite an entertaining way. So,
love it.
Yeah.
Tony,
I
see.
just watched one of his videos recently on
Which one? Coca-Cola?
hunts. Coca-Cola, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
How come
starting
we
to
all
do
got
some
that video?
business stuff on his B channel. I think he calls it the
Yeah,
Fat Files.
Fire Files, yep. Costco. things
So
like
he brings
that.
his own unique style for telling the story over to that stuff as well.
That's cool. Tony, I see you got one here.
Yep, I'll give a shout out to Tracey, of course, and the CCFR for fighting a good fight. Go out and vote. It's funny that my dad keep mentioning he has no liberal voting anyway, but he just like the conservative haven't done any responses to the Trump threats. I was like, they're not really in government right now, so to me, it seems the media is more biased to, okay, our current government is giving a response like this, and it seems to me most of the mainstream media are kind of leaning that way.
Well, the thing is, in my mind, what response? Like
That too, right?
Yeah,
It's just
you
like
had no chance to
proposed.
negotiate with them or anything. So what response? Hey, we don't like this. Yeah, that's probably a given.
He said that. He said that a bunch of times.
Yeah,
when
we
he
talked
said
about it.
what he's going to do in fighting the Trump tariffs, that kind of thing. But people don't pay attention to that.
No, and they're
Again,
not.
it's just projection.
Yep. And finally, I have a couple of shout outs. I want to shout out Ron and Scott. You guys were awesome. They set up the booth for us. They both came from like a ways away. Sorry, no, Ryan. I'm so sorry. I'm dealing head cold. Ryan and Scott. Ryan came from like Kamloops. Scott came from the island and set up the booth. Worked all 3 days. I watched them suffer because it's a thing to stand on like that concrete floor for 8 hours. and none of them wanted to sit down, so that was hilarious. So huge shout out to you guys. You made that whole show possible, and you're both really awesome.
You need CCFR to get you the wellness foam mats to stand on.
Yeah, that's one of a bunch of things. So, all right, moving on to signing off. Join our Discord server. Watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Player. Join the CCFR. Don't forget to vote. Take a whole bunch of people that you can vote. That's coming up soon. And we will see you next week.
Later,
See you
everyone.
next week.
Bye.
Good night, Kelly.